Hello and welcome to the Cashmere Goat podcast. I believe this is episode 24, but I probably should have fact-checked that before I hit this go button. I'll fact-check it after and I'll correct it in the notes and certainly put the right number in the title of the video. My name is Iris and I work here at Cashmere Goat in beautiful Camden, Maine, where it is another stunning, beautiful September day. September is really the time of year to come, people, if you can. Maine just puts on a great show in September. It's like the air is clear, the sky is blue. It just feels good. So I don't have any special guests here with me today. Sometimes I have Kristen, the owner of the shop. Sometimes I have other folks who work at the shop. But guess what? It's the first day back to school. And some of my colleagues here at the shop have little people, school-age people, mid-sized people going to school. So their lives are extra hectic. So it's just going to be me today. And I have a lot to fill you in on, but let's start with the beginning. I'm not wearing any knitwear today. I am wearing something I made, which is a skirt. I don't know if I'll be able to show you if I stand on my tippy toes. Yeah, so it's just a simple A-line skirt. That's what I've got for handmade on today, and I figured I better wear my summery skirts while I have the chance because it'll be cooling off soon, which is my favorite. What am I working on? Well, first of all, you might be thinking, if you're a regular watcher of this podcast, Iris, how's it going with the Kate Davies mystery shawl? I knew you'd ask. It's in timeouts. A little bit bored of it. I'm not quite done with clue 3. Haven't started clue 4, even though I like it. And you know what? It just may be like next summer's finish along project. I'm just not worrying about it because I'm moving on with other things that I'm enjoying more right now. I like the shawl. I'm definitely going to finish the shawl. I just, it was a time intensive situation and life's too short. Onward and upward. What I'm really loving right now is my Irish Rover pullover by Teti Litzak. You've seen this growing. I'm now on the lovely raglan decreases, heading up towards the neck. The original pattern wanted me to start short rowing for the neck at about this dimension, and that's not me. That's not for me. No. So I'm going to continue to decrease a little bit before I get into short rowing and doing a funnel neck. I still want sort of like a little bit of a wide funnel neck, but I don't want like a gaping galaxy style. That's not my luck. So I love the pattern. I did discover something a little crazy about the pattern, which is that, and so far the pattern's been great, but you know, on the scale of designers who like to hold your hand every step of the way and those who just maybe throw you to the wind, I feel like I was feeling pretty good, maybe in the middle of that. And then all of a sudden I feel like I'm off to the wind with what I'm supposed to do next, which is this strange paragraph that nobody has really been able to decipher. But essentially, I will be short rowing in this pattern, and as it's written, I will have to perform the pattern stitches on the purl side. So lots of cross, left, right, cross, which is a great, fun thing to do, not too complicated. But that seems crazy. Apparently some ravelers that I was reading about said, yeah, that took a while to figure out. And then others said, they just said, forget about it. They moved their beginning of the round to the back of the sweater, from the back of the sweater to the front. And somehow that made the short rowing work out so that the stitch pattern side was on the right side, as, you know, God and everybody might have intended it to be. Like, because who's ever done this like kind of business on the reverse? Like, I don't know. That's gonna be, I'm gonna do what the advice that I give to other people, which is like, don't worry about it until you're there, and then you will figure it out somehow. So talking myself down off the ledge about that, But you know, when you stump other like knitters who are fabulous, like Rachel, who I work with, who we were looking at this yesterday, that feels a little scary. I even emailed the designer and I wrote a very polite query. And she essentially said like, yeah, no, there's no tutorials for that. Here's the most recent version of the pattern, which was the one I already had. But anyway, thank you. I still love the sweater. The design is awesome. This is just, it was a little bit of a surprise push off the ledge for me. Okay, what is happening here right now? So much is happening. We just have been having our big extra flash sale on top of sale prices for our clearance. And Kristen, the owner, has decided to extend the sale a few more days. So I believe it's through September 10th. All the stuff in our clearance section, and we've still got some great deals, all of those already discounted prices, you can get an additional 20% off with the discount code LD24 at checkout. So it's awesome. There's sweater quantities. There's great cotton linen, soft lino is in there. I mean, there's just some great stuff, but one that I wanted to highlight because it's super gorge is this beautiful basket of, this is Snowflake Multi by Lang. We also have just plain Snowflake, which is a little more monocolor, like there's definitely variations. And this is the cotton alpaca wool poly blend. It's a bulky weight yarn. It's a chainette yarn. And there's definitely some nice quantities here and in the just plain Snowflake. So you should check that out. And if you've been thinking maybe about making the BYO party sweater, which is my first sweater design, this was one of the yarns that one of my testers used, Kendra. So you can go on Ravelry and you can look at Kendra's. But we, as you can see, we have like a sweater's worth here, and definitely also in the Snowflake regular. So check out what's in clearance. I think there's just some fun stuff, a lot of variety, different yarn weights. So yeah, help us, you know, get the yarns to new homes, because we need to make the space for all the delicious fall stuff coming, which I will be showing probably the next podcast episode. I think we're going to do like fall yarn show and tell as a focus. But I always have things that I want to tell you about, show you about. And you all know that I did my Sea Haven by Jennifer Shields Toland. I did that in Fleece BFL in a beautiful forest green color. I loved working with this yarn. It's 100% Blue Faced Leicester BFL. It's a DK weight, and they came out with 2 new colors. Can you even stand it? Do you see how there's a little bit of like gray heathery undertones in these yarns? So it doesn't feel like a flat color, you know? There's dimensionality here, and this one just like, I mean, actually together they are amazing. This one is called Quarry. This one is called Foxglove. It's so good. Oh my God. So the BFL yarn, it's a dream to work with. I think I mentioned in a previous podcast that working with it made me understand the phrase, it has a nice hand to it. That's like something that people say, and I just sort of nod and go along with it. Yes, it has a nice hand. It feels great when you're working with it. Just, it's lovely. It's soft. It's, I wear the green sweater next to my skin, although we all have different itch preferences, but it's a dream. For a woolly wool, it has such a nice softness and just natural like fuzz to it. See that fuzz? I don't know if you can see the fuzz. So real excited about that, because the palette, as I said, is a bit limited, which is fine. Sometimes we can have too many choices, right? We also, Kristen spotted some new designs in the Cozy Cakes. So we've got some new color prints for you in that. This one is Fragmented Blossoms. So that's fun. And then this one is really cool. It's called Pixie Dust. So these, if you're not already savvy to it, these are little sweaters for your yarn that make things stay nice and neat and tidy. Especially helpful if you're doing color work, or you've got a lot of different balls. Maybe you're alternating balls of yarn because you've got a indie dyed yarn and you don't want color pooling or something. And it's just really nice to know that your different yarn balls are not going to just tumble around and become a tangled mess. And so it's Cozy Cakes, and these are by Bink Waffle. So thought I'd show you that. Something that we are really excited about this fall is we've got some new programs, and Myranda and I and Kristen T have been working on some new offerings. So Mindful Stitching is with Kristen T, and that is a Saturday morning in shop. It's right before the shop opens, and it sounds like a really lovely way to just kind of embrace your craft and the practice of mindfulness through something in your hands. I don't know about you guys, but for some folks, I know that meditation can feel daunting, too fancy, my brain goes all squirrely. And so mindfulness practices sort of, are really more about bringing your attention to the present moment. And so what folks do is they bring a very simple thing to work on, whether that's a crochet, whether that's embroidery, knitting, something easy that you don't have to think very much about, that your hands can kind of do their thing and you don't have to look at your pattern and see what line you're on. And so the awesome part is that Kristen, who's just so lovely, she leads you through kind of a guided attention bringing moment to the craft. So kind of experiencing mindfulness through your hands, if you will. So I've heard, I haven't been, I'm hoping to go this weekend. I've heard that it's just a lovely way to start a Saturday. And I love being with Kristen T as well. She's just got such a beautiful, calm manner. And, so you could get yourself nice and centered and then go off and do your other Saturday things with a nice presence of mind. And through September, we are offering the first session for free, just so you can try it out, because it is a little bit different and maybe something that you're not too sure about you want to commit to. So keep that in mind. If you're local, this is in person only. But yeah, maybe I'll see some of you local goats there. In October, Myranda is offering a stranded colorwork class, and it's going to be awesome. I'm hoping to attend that one too if there's space. And what she's doing is she's using a pattern by Pacific Knit Company, which you may know from the awesome doodle decks that we carry. This is Autumn. Here's the basic. We have Monster in stock for Halloween. And the Rhinebeck expansion pack, so for all you Rhinebeck goers. But so the concept of the doodle deck is that each card has a simple colorwork design on it, and a grid, and so you then can mix and match. That designer, I think it's Jamie Lomax, has come out with a couple of patterns for a cup cozy, like the kind of sleeve that goes over your coffee mug that's reusable. And she's designed, let's see, I think the patterns are each $2, and there's one that's sort of autumn themed, Halloween themed, and one that's kind of more holiday, Christmas holiday themed. And so the cup cozy is what the stranded colorwork class will be about. And so each participant gets to choose and purchase whichever pattern set they want, either Halloween or Christmas, pick out some yarn, and we've got some great DK choices for that. And then Myranda will lead a 2-hour workshop on colorwork, basics of holding 2 yarns, and how do we manipulate the 2 yarns, and what about this tension thing? So it's definitely suitable for beginners, which is awesome. And this is something that people have asked us about. Some of our folks locally have said, we'd love some workshop styles about specific things, and colorwork was one of them. So that's, I believe it's October 19th. And then October 27th, I'm leading a color theory, color play workshop for 2 hours. And I think this is going to be a really fun way to kind of follow up if you've taken the color class with Myranda, where you're starting to think maybe about color work, and maybe you want to get into a bigger project. Or if you're just a person who wants to learn a little bit more about just the nuts and bolts of like what's the words, what are the language, how do we talk about color, like from a color wheel perspective, how do we work with the color wheel concept and understand kind of the color relationships to each other. So we'll get a little nerdy with some of the vocab, but then we'll also have some time to play and do a little bit of like, I'm thinking it's going to be kind of like a little scavenger hunt where maybe you and a partner would scamper around on a few little like missions to find certain things in terms of like, we've got a whole rainbow of color all around us. So, you know, I haven't worked out what the scavenger hunt will be specifically, but it's going to be about kind of workshopping this idea of like, how do we find good relationships between color and begin to develop some confidence with picking colors? Because while we love to help everybody with their color choices, sometimes we hear people, actually a lot, we hear folks saying, oh, I just don't have good color sense, or I just, you know, I need somebody who's going to be able to help me through these decisions. I don't have a knack for it. And I think it's something that you can learn. So those are two new things. And then of course, coming up in October, we're going to be doing Socktober again. And we're planning some fun ways that we're going to tweak that a little bit. And this, you know, I don't think we had meetups last year on virtual. I can't really remember. But this year we're definitely having optional virtual sock meetups. So that will be fun. I just can't remember. Did we do that last year? Anyway, we always have in-person optional meetups in the store. So I'm getting excited for Socktober. I'm working up a couple samples of some options. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, you will hear all about it in the coming weeks and know how to sign up and all of those good things. Oh, another thing about the doodle decks. So these are brand new and we just got these. So we got a bunch of these pamphlet patterns, some of which, let's see. So this is the sock one and comes in the fingering weight and DK weight. And then we've got like a couple different cowls and mitts, and there's a hat, I believe, as well. And so what this is this is basically like a recipe, right? It's a recipe for, you know, whatever, that's orange, it's fine. It's plain, but this becomes the ground for you to plan your own amazing customized cowl or whatever you're making with those doodle decks that I talked about a minute ago. So these are kind of brand new, and we're also going to be getting Jamie's new book, I believe. I think we have that on order. So this is kind of a fun way where like folks are just thinking about color work a lot. We've heard that, and so we're trying to respond. And okay, last thing. So we have still 4 spots available for our sunset sale on Schooner Olad, and that's going to be September 12th. We talked about this a little bit last time with Kristen. It's just gorgeous to be out there on the water in September with a boatload of crafty folks, and sometimes there's some really nice plus ones that come along. And you just feel like 2 hours sounds like a short time, but when you're out on the water, it sort of feels timeless and dreamy and beautiful. So if you're interested, I would snag a spot soon because we always sell out of this event and we're pretty excited. We're excited because Kristen's coming with us, so that'll be great. So yeah, think about that and hop on it if you want to do it. What else? Well, I think that's about it. You know, we're just sort of, summer is still kind of a busy time for us in the shop. September is still kind of a busy time for us in the shop. It feels like our summer season extends through September. And so we're still pretty busy, but let's see, we're getting ready. Today's Tuesday. We're getting ready for spinning group. So folks pop in for that on Tuesdays. And we have our Wednesdays from 4 to 7 is a drop-in knitting group. And then Sundays right now, we're still doing finish along Sundays, and that's going to continue through the end of the finish along in September. And it's been so much fun to see folks finishing so many projects. It's been amazing. And it's sort of infectious. It's like this enthusiasm. I was talking to one of our knitters, Becca, yesterday, and she was like, I'm down to only 2 unfinished projects in my whole house. And I was like, that's incredible. Yay, finish along. So good. Oh my gosh. And one very last thing. Okay, sorry. I know I said it was the last thing, but this is the real last thing. I finally recorded a tutorial for what I think of as the easiest tubular cast on method that I've come across. I basically tried tubular cast on with a few different videos and bailed. Like, was just like, okay, well, I guess this isn't for me because that is nuts. I will never do that again. This is terrible. So I pretty much just was like, okay, I'll just skip over, do my long tail, or what's the extra long taily one? The German twisted cast on. I do that sometimes. Anyway, I just was like, no, tubular cast on, just not worth it for me. I would cry, I would swear, I would be frustrated. It just, no thanks. Until I had a customer, Alice, and she was here with a pattern, wanted tubular cast on, asked me for help, and I was like, okay. And it turned out her pattern was written by, I believe it's Carol Sunday Knits, and Carol had a blog post about this easy way to do it. And it turns out also that I found this technique later in a book called the Cast On Bind Off book. Don't have the author in front of me, but I'll link it down below. And so it is a way of doing this tubular cast on, which if you've never used it, it creates a very nice 1x1 or 2x2 ribbing that has it just folds really nicely. So it's almost like the front side just seamlessly continues onto the back side. It's a very neat, very professional looking finished edge that's stretchy. And a lot of modern designers love this cast on. Andrea Mowry, Petite Knit, all about it. And this method is really cool. And so I'm going to link the tutorial below. Go give it a watch, especially if you have been frustrated by tubular cast on before, and then you can let me know what you think of it. So thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. We are also on Instagram and Facebook. And hopefully we'll see you here at Cashmere Goat sometime. We love seeing our remote goats come and visit. And until next time, happy knitting, happy crocheting, all the things, happy making, and see you soon. Bye.